Well, good day, everybody. Welcome to World's Finest, brought to you by the Comic Collectors Guild. My name is Jake. You guys know me as the Superman, and joining me from Gotham City, the Batman himself, Lee Lawson. How are you, sir?
I am great, Jake. I am great. As always, I'm excited to talk about some of these new hot topic genre items that are out there. It's going to be a good episode.
Yeah, the news just keeps flooding in. I kind of poo-pooed on Marvel last week, so we got some positive Marvel news this week. Hopefully, it's a little more positive. I guess we should start with, we got a few casting announcements to make. I guess we got Miss Marvel, who is kind of being prominent in the new Avengers video game.
Yep.
We got old Kamala Khan. She has been cast. It is an actress named Iman Vellani. I think she's kind of an unknown actress for the most part, not really a household name. But what do you think of the casting, and what's your overall excitement level for this show in general?
I'm actually excited about it. I don't know much about the character Ms. Marvel, except that, I know that she came out in 2013, I believe, debuted in 2013. I think it's Marvel's first Muslim character to star in her own series. So that's pretty exciting. I think I love the fact that, somebody who she's an unknown actress, which is what they used to do a lot of the times. They would try to find some of these, when they were casting these superhero films, they would look for unknown characters. They didn't really have a lot of baggage behind them and things like that. I think it's pretty exciting casting. I think she's going to do I don't know much about her, but I can't imagine that they would have chosen her. I think she'd do a fantastic job on it. But I think this is shaping up to be a pretty good series, man. They just hired the Bad Boys for Life directors to be part of it. They're going to direct a couple episodes. I liked Bad Boys for Life. I thought that was a great movie. They took the reins from Michael Bay for the third one. And then they've got some more Walking Dead directors, too, that they've announced that are going to be part of the show also. I think as a whole, it's going to be good. Hopefully when they drop that trailer, whatever it is, it doesn't rub me the wrong way like WandaVision did. But no, I think the Disney Plus stuff is starting to shape up, man. And some exciting stuff happening. What about you?
Yeah, same. I don't really have anything to go off of acting wise. I've never seen her, but I trust Marvel has always done a pretty fantastic job. Minus one or two on casting. As far as casting, a couple people I would maybe pick differently, but overall, I think they'll do a great job. I think she'll be cool. I think it's actually very smart that they put Miss Marvel in the new Avengers video game. I know that's kind of like a different platform, but the fact that they're just kind of getting her out there to be known a little bit. And if you even notice in the trailer for the video game, she's pretty predominant in that trailer. So very strategic on Marvel's part. Well done. I'm sure it'll be a very fun series, I guess, especially because she's more of a younger kind of a kid. And it's funny too, what you alluded to. I like that they're casting kind of an unknown. It's kind of weird now looking back, but back when Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr.'s weren't household names when they were first cast. People knew about them, but they weren't like these A-listers that we know now. So I'm all for it. I think it'll be great, and I look forward to seeing what they do with it.
Yeah, I think with She-Hulk, dropping last week casting, and now the Ms. Marvel casting, I think, like I said, it's really starting to heat up. I would imagine Moon Knight will be reporting about that and talking about that.
That's the one I'm ready for the most. Yeah.
So all good stuff, man. Which leads us into since we're on the Disney Plus stuff, man. Yeah. I mean, I was totally caught off guard with the Nick Fury announcement series. Lots of questions around that one. I mean, there's so many different ways they could go with it. Is it going to be a prequel Nick Fury series, or is it going to be taking place after? I guess last time we saw Fury was at the end of the last Marvel movie, Spider-Man, Far From Home.
Far From Home. Yeah, and you saw him at Iron Man's funeral, and then just showing up in Europe for Peter Parker. So it'll be interesting the route they go.
Remember, that wasn't the real Nick Fury though. That was the scroll. Yeah, but at the very end, we showed Nick Fury, I guess they really haven't confirmed it, but I would imagine he was in space. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
looks like he's putting together a sword, which is the outer space version of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I think it's going to be. I don't know. I was just totally caught off guard. I'm excited about it. I am. I don't think that's going to be out here for nothing. And the fact that Sam Jackson is going to be in one of the first. I mean, he did make he made an appearance or two in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., when it came on originally, like the first year. I think the end of the first finale, he might have been on there. But no, the fact that he signed on for a TV series or a series, it's great stuff, man. And the script's got to be
Samuel
awesome.
L. Jackson.
Yeah,
I really do. Everything from Hitman's Bodyguard to Pulp Fiction to pretty much anything he does is so funny, and I just love him. So I love seeing him as Nick Fury. I think he's done and he's really been kind of the anchor point between all the characters for a long time. He was always kind of the anchor point that was falling back on. But it'll be interesting the different routes they can go, whether they focus on in space, if they go like back before, they show him, but it's kind of like him narrating, and then they show maybe a younger Nick Fury, which I think they might do just for the action, which would be kind of interesting. But either way, I mean, I'm excited for that show. I think he definitely deserves, and that story with S.H.I.E.L.D. will include a lot of good stuff. And my only question will be taking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because that was kind of based on S.H.I.E.L.D., and then Nick Fury, whether they'll like kind of intertwine a little bit or anything from that show will carry over to a Nick Fury show.
Well, it all depends on when it's taken place. I think, like you said, if it's a prequel, which they definitely have the technology to do, because he did in Captain Marvel, and then they had Agent Coulson running around with him. That was before S.H.I.E.L.D. even started, actually. You know what I mean? So that'll be it. I don't know. I think to your point, it might be something more along the lines of they do have some flashbacks, but they have him kind of in the present day, maybe with a bookend story. You know what I mean? All I know is I'm excited about it, and that one came out of nowhere. We've all heard about Ms. Marvel and Moon Knight and She-Hulk and all of that, but the fact that they surprised us with a Nick Fury series. What else they have up their sleeves, man? I
know it's like they're gonna keep surprises with these shows. And I guess we can transition right into the final piece of kind of the Marvel aspect of the week. Is we've got a Marvel 616 docuseries that's dropping in November, I believe.
November 20th, I think it is when the date is gonna drop. This is gonna be pretty cool. I think each episode is gonna be a different thing. It's a docuseries. Some episodes are gonna focus on Marvel's cosplay. Some will focus on little known characters in the Marvel universe. There's an episode that I think which would have been awesome back in high school, being in the art drama department, drama class. The fact that they're actually like doing plays. They're actually doing plays out there right now based on comic book stories from Marvel and things like that. I think one episode's focusing on that. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting. I think it'll be a fun show to watch. It's not, just kind of taking us through all the different aspects of the Marvel universe.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I'm kind of alluding it to, I think, I forget the name of the show, but what they do for Mandalorian, like kind of that roundtable series that they've done. I think it's kind of like, seems like it's like their version of that, but for the MCU, maybe just how it's impacted kind of the world and viewing and highlighting different aspects of it. It'll be interesting. And I think Disney Plus just really needs more original shows in general. And obviously, like these Marvel ones are going to take a while to produce because they're a lot more high budgeted and action packed. So it'll be interesting. I'll definitely be checking it out. It should be a very cool series. That's a cool idea, like focusing on some of the other characters and getting people excited for the next phase or maybe what's to come and how it's impacted, because it has been so impactful. Over these last however many decade or whatever it's been. With the movies and what it's done for pulp culture in general.
I'll check it out for sure.
Exactly. So let's swing over to Team DC. We like to do that team quite a bit. We do have some very exciting news there. We got Hawkman, who is a character that you and I both are big fans of. We were hoping we'd get this announcement at DC Fandom. We had to wait a couple more weeks, but we have found out that Aldous Hodge is going to be cast as Hawkman himself. I am very, very pumped because I saw this casting the day after I had just watched The Invisible Man, which he stars in. And obviously, like, Elizabeth Moss is incredible in that movie, but he really is one of the highlights of that movie. And I've also seen him in a movie called Saving Brian Banks, Saving Brian Banks, where he plays, it's a true story about a football player who is wrongly accused of a crime. And that was my first time seeing it. He is fantastic in that movie. And I'm so excited for this guy to be Hawkman. I think he's going to be phenomenal. One of the things that I've always, as great as Dwayne, he's the biggest movie star in the world. I don't think that's but it's really hard in a physical thing to find somebody that can physically look like he could go against him. Well, I don't know if you've seen this dude, but he is yoked. Like, he is a big dude. So physically, he's going to go up very well against Black Adam. And I'm very excited for this casting. What was your thoughts on the Hawkman Aldous Hodge casting?
I think it is awesome. I mean, for lack of a better term, it's just awesome. I was totally pleasantly surprised by this.
Yeah,
as you said, he's built a pretty solid film and television resume over the past few years. You know, you just talked about how he was an Invisible Man and he knocked that out of the park. He did a great job on that. He's been on a couple TV shows called Leverage and another TV show called Underground, which he actually starred in with Jurnee Smollett, who we all know played Black Canary. So that'd be kind of cool if they ever do meet up. They'll have some history, you know, as far as that goes. You know, she played Black Canary in the Harley Quinn film. He's also played MC Ren in Straight Outta Compton. You know, he played one he played one of the 4 members of NWA, which was freaking. He did a great job in that as well. He was in Hidden Figures, one of the Oscar-nominated films. But no, I mean, it's great. I think it was a very out of the pocket, you know, choice. It was really a great choice as far as that goes. He and a lot of people were kind of upset. I've already heard pushback because they cast an African American actor on it.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Things I am too, man, because it really makes sense. There's been 2 versions of Hawkman out there.
Yeah,
one's a space cop. Well, one's a space cop, and then which from Thanagar. But then throughout, you know, there's been 2 couple different backgrounds on Hawkman. That was one. I think that was the original one. But now he's been most recently, most reincarnated Egyptian, which makes perfect sense. I mean, you know what I mean? He can't be the blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy. You know what I mean? So I think it's a fantastic choice. And like you said, he's built, dude. He's going to be great. He's got the physique. I've seen some
fan art,
you know, from fan art, because they gave us what Hawkman was going to look like in the animated pieces of Black Adam. So they basically know what the costume will be. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure it was based on the costuming that will already happen and be in the film. So I saw some fan art, basically using that costume and putting it on all this, and it just looks phenomenal, man.
Yeah,
he's a great actor. He's got the physique for it to go up against Black Adam, and I just think it's awesome. I mean,
he's got really good charisma about him too, which I think, you know, like The Rock does, where, you know, no matter what he's played, you just kind of like, oh, I like that character because he just has a good charisma about him. So he'll do great. I'm curious because Dr. Fate's the next one that we're kind of waiting to get casting on. Is there an actor that if you could fan cast, you have a fan cast for Dr. Fate? I actually thought of one yesterday. Now it's stuck in my head for myself, but I'm curious to hear yours first before I spill the beans on that.
Let me just pull an actor out of the air. I actually, wow, you kind of stumped me on that one. Who did you have?
Well, Dr. Fate is kind of a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy. I'm actually going with
Kent Nelson is his name. Yeah,
I'll totally botch his name, so I'm just gonna say his character name. The guy who plays Jamie Lannister. He'd be my choice as Dr. Fate.
Oh,
Nikolai, whatever. He'd be great. He kind of looks like him. I think he would be fantastic. He's done action, obviously, from Game of Thrones. I'd be all about him as Dr. Fate, because he doesn't need to be like a big hulking guy, because he uses like magic and all that stuff. So
you know what? I'll just piggyback on yours and say that's who I was thinking too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I think Kent Nelson, he plays him in the that's his alter ego, I guess, in the comics. So we're waiting on that. I think that's a great choice if they went with him. I actually couldn't. I mean, I'm glad they went with Aldous, but I could have seen him as Hawkman too, the guy you just mentioned, Nikolai.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Game of Thrones. But no, we're waiting on that and Cyclone.
Yep.
You know, which is a little known character. I really don't know much about her at all. I'm kind of intrigued that they actually chose that character to go with as part of the Justice Society when there's others out there. You know what
my guess is she'll be a little bit smaller of a role.
Possibly. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe they pull a Marvel move and she'll become like this Batman, Superman, Cyclone. The 3 pillars.
Yeah, you know what? You never know. You never know. But no, I love the casting that DC has done. And if you really think about it, they've got a lot of heroes that have been casted already and that are floating around in the different corners of the DC universe. Yeah. You know what I mean? That they could all bring together for another type of Justice League versus Justice Society or whatever it might be one day. You know what I mean? But no, great choice.
They're going for, I mean, obviously Dwayne Johnson aside, they're going for the talent over name kind of approach, which I like. You know what I mean? They're they're like, we don't need an A-list name. Like, we just want very high quality actors, and they're just knocking it out of the park. And then, with these kind of roles, you become a heavy, a household name, but they're letting their talent kind of do the work for them. So
yeah,
it'll be cool doing like Aldous Hodge as opposed to like maybe what Ryan Reynolds would have been, or, a big A-lister where like, if Ryan Reynolds was Hawkman, I love Ryan Reynolds, but I'd hear Deadpool, you know what I mean? Like that's Ryan Reynolds. So with Aldous Hodge, he can put his version on the character, and I'll see more of the character than an actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Ryan Reynolds, I don't know. I mean, I guess he's a great actor, so he could pull it off. But Hawkman's always been portrayed as a hothead. He's got the anger issues. You know what I mean? So I think all of us will be able to characterize that and definitely pull it off. While we're talking, and I don't know why. I'll come up with my own. I just came up with my own Dr. Fate guy. And he actually played Hawkman in the Smallville television show.
There you go.
But he's got the kind of the Egyptian background. Stargate. He was in Stargate. Michael Shanks. I don't know if you guys ever watched that, but yeah, that's somebody who I could see doing a Dr. Fate also. You know what I mean? He's always portrayed more of that intelligence and stuff like that. So anyway, I just thought I didn't want to just not come out with somebody. So there, Michael Shanks.
There you go. There you go. Speaking of some people that can, hold a presence and kick some tail physically, we have a Conan the Barbarian Netflix show coming. Yes. Big Conan himself. Talk about some big shoes. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jason Momoa, two very prominent actors that have played Conan. What are your thoughts on a Conan Netflix show? And is there anybody that you could see wielding that big ass sword of his? They need a because Conan, you better be a big dude playing him.
You got to be a big dude, man. And no, I think this is going to be I think it's going to be good. For some reason, I don't know why. And he's got to really build himself up, and he'd probably never do it because he played in Game of Thrones. But I'm thinking of his name just disappeared on me. Oh my gosh, Jon Snow. No, I mean,
Kit Harington.
I mean, he's got to build himself up. I mean, he's got to become and get thick and stuff for some reason. But that's I don't know. I just feel like he might be able to pull off Conan. Conan the Barbarian type of show. I mean, it's awesome. You got to look for acting too. You don't want to just find somebody who's just big and imposing. It's got to be a good actor who can pull it off. So
I wonder if they went with an older Conan, the dude who plays the Hound. Speaking of Game of Thrones, like that's a big dude, and he can act, dude. Like I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the direction they want to go, but. If it's funny with like sword thing, it's like my head just immediately goes to Game of Thrones actors.
And that's what mine did too. Yeah. So, but I mean, this is a great show. I think it's going to be good. I mean, Amazon was planning this a few years ago and they just didn't pull it off for whatever reason. And now it's swept up by Netflix. So, I mean, I was a fan of the Conan films with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I actually liked the one that with Jason Momoa that attempted to kick off. I mean, that was supposed to be its own franchise, the beginning of a new franchise. Fortunately, I'm glad it didn't. I mean, I liked the movie, but I'm glad that it didn't work because I love him as Aquaman now. And who knows if that had been going on, maybe it would have been a conflict or what have you. You know what I mean? If he would still play a trilogy of that. But no, I was a fan of all the Conan films so far. And I think the show on Netflix would be good as well. And not only that, are they talking about the TV show? They're talking about doing movies out of it as well. Doing the show, of course, but then making actual movies using the same character and things like that, or same actor. So yeah, I mean, and Conan's got a pretty big, I mean, he's always been part of Marvel. I believe, I'm right about that, but I know lately, and I don't read it, but I know lately he's been brought in as part of like the Savage Avengers or something like that. There's a new storyline going on. So he's running around with the Avengers now, Conan.
How about that?
So his profile's risen, at least in the comic book world. I mean, it's always been out there, but in the comic book world in the past few years, he's been a pretty prominently featured character in one of the Avengers series too. So, hey man,
I think it'll be, it's kind of the same with anything Conan. I think it'll be like either incredibly epic or like just epically horrible. Like no in between. It's gonna be one of the two. See, I'll give it a shot. Another I guess action-packed reboot that's coming is G.I. Joe. I guess the actor from
Crazy Rich Asians.
Crazy Rich Asians, yes. Yeah. He kind of dropped the bomb that they're gonna be rebooting that. I'm gotta be honest, I watched them, but I wasn't really overly a big fan of the G.I. Joe movies that came out. So my excitement level isn't like way off the moon, but I'm excited to see what they do because it has potential to, if it's done right, to be really epic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, legend has it there was an old animated G.I. Joe cartoon that came out in the 80s. You know, no, I actually remember watching that cartoon. I loved that cartoon. I read the comics, the G.I. Joe comics. I had the action figures. So I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan. You know what I mean? And actually, the movies were hit and miss. There was definitely, they did the first one with Channing Tatum playing Duke, and Marlon Wayans was in there, which was crazy. But then they did the kind of slight reboot with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, of course, playing Roadblock. And that one was kind of it was a sequel, but it was also kind of a slight reboot of it as well, of the first movie. I'm excited about this, man. The movie's actually called Snake Eyes. But they've got a couple other G.I. Joe characters running around in there as well. You know what I mean? I know like Scarlet Baroness, Storm Shadow, those will be making appearances as well. So I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. Snake Eyes is always one of my favorite characters. So I know it's supposed to come out in March, I believe. This March coming up, and now it's been coming out on October 22nd, 2021. So it'll be a good month. You got Batman kicking that month off, and then you got G.I. Joe coming out after that. Should be good.
Yeah. Speaking of Batman, we'll get to Batman here at the very end. But speaking of Batman, we do have some exciting news coming out of DC that Zack Snyder is not only getting to finish up, but he's actually getting some extra scenes to shoot, some reshoots, if you will. I'm really excited. I actually think it's very different than I think people are looking at it like, oh my God, we're gonna get all these extras. But people got to understand, like most movies nowadays, especially blockbusters, like they actually schedule ahead of time, like reshoots. Like it's every film, it's reshoots. But obviously, because of what happened, he never got a chance to do that. So to me, it seems almost natural that he's getting reshoots. But it's so cool to hear Ben Affleck's going to be coming back. Gal Gadot is going to be coming back to do them. And what's really cool is, usually when you make a movie, there's not that much time in between reshoots and when it's shot. He's had years to maybe think about, oh man, like in my version back then, I did it this way. Man, he's had years to be like, oh, I think this way would actually be better. And he's had so much time. I think he's going to knock it out of the park. This is extremely exciting for me. I think it's more natural than people were thinking, but I'm really excited to hear the news. And it's so cool to hear the actors are coming back to do this. They're not getting paid for it. They're not making money off of it. They're doing it for us. So what are your thoughts on that news that we're actually going to get some reshooting? Yeah,
I think it's about a week or two of reshoots that they're supposed to, maybe a little over a week or so. That's great. Like you said, you mentioned Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot. They also mentioned Henry Cavill and Ray Fisher, which is interesting that Ray Fisher is going to be involved, considering all of that legal stuff that's going on between him and Warner Brothers right now.
Yeah, although him and Zach are very close.
Like, they are.
Zach are super close.
They are. It's just hey, Warner Brothers is one of the bill, and there's all that weird stuff going on with it right now. But then there's been, Henry Cavill was one of the ones announced, but then there's been conflicting reports since then. But he was in the original story that he was coming back. But now, like you said, I think The Witcher's being filmed.
Right, it's because of The Witcher. He can't do it.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe. Well, fortunately, we've got so many other unused Superman film footage that was not used.
Actually, what's funny, Zack Snyder has said, I can do more Superman stuff without Henry Cavill. Like he can, because a lot of it's CGI, the effects, and the way if it's action stuff, you see the cape, you don't know it's Henry Cavill. Man of Steel, there's scenes where there's not Henry Cavill, but it looks like Henry Cavill. You know what I mean? So you don't get that stupid Justice League theatrical editing at the end, which Zack Snyder will never do. He can do it with that, but it should be interesting. It should be pretty epic for sure.
Dude, I'm excited about it.
I'm just happy for Zach. Like literally, I'm just so excited for him. Last thing, we'll end it with this. We are officially, as we're recording this, 365 days away from The Batman dropping in theaters. Now that we kind of have a official countdown of a year countdown, what are your thoughts on The Batman? How excited are you that this time next year, we're going to have our butts parked in a movie theater watching this epic glory of film? What are your thoughts on The Batman?
Well, first, let's hope we're in a movie theater and it's not a special release on HBO Max because the theaters are still closed.
Exactly.
No, but I mean, I can't speak out enough about how excited I am about it. For the guys who who watched the previous episodes, you know that we are anxiously awaiting this.
Yeah.
And the fact that we got that awesome trailer with that small amount of footage that they hadn't even filmed half the movie yet, I believe. You know what I mean? That was like
Not even a quarter
of the movie. Yeah.
Of the movie, yeah.
Yeah. And so they gave us that great footage that they dropped on DC Fandom. I mean, I can't wait, man. These 365 days cannot go by fast enough for me to check this out. You know, and it very well might be the rated R Batman. I mean, you know, we just got wind of, we talked about this last episode. Suicide Squad 2 is definitely going to be a hard R, rated R flick. And if that's successful, I can't see why they wouldn't. I mean, they might already have it in mind to have Batman be that hard R, rated R Batman, which would be freaking phenomenal if they did that. It was, and look how much money that made. So it's not going to deter people who really want to see a flick. You know what I mean?
Right. No, absolutely. No, I'm pumped. It's easily, especially because Snyder Cut's like on HBO Max. It's easily, to me, far and away the number one most anticipated movie for me of 2021, or pretty much any movie that would have came out, you know, barring it was like a Ben Affleck movie coming. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely going to be the one. I have like my calendar circled. The first opportunity I get to see it, I'm seeing it. And I really think they're, especially after the trailer, but like even beforehand, I think they're really on to something special and making it their own. And I just can't wait to see what they do. So this calendar year better hurry the hell up and especially get on to 2021 because 2020 sucks.
I know. It's so right. So very right.
Yeah, I mean, those are really the highlights of the week. I'm sure we're going to have some more awesome stuff coming in. Well, but
I know that they announced Lion King 2.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Lion King 2 has been announced. Totally forgot about that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Lion King 2 is going to be.
That was out of nowhere.
It really was. I mean, but I think what we're seeing this. I mean, they announced Aladdin 2. You know, I mean, not a lot of people. Both movies made a lot of money. They made over $1 billion. Both the remake of Aladdin and the remake of Lion King. The remake of Lion King didn't get a lot of critical love. You know what I mean? A lot of people weren't really taking it. And all that stuff. Yeah, but I mean, you know, the other ones got Beauty and the Beast and Jungle Book and Aladdin. All of those were pretty reviewed favorably. This one didn't, but it still made a huge amount of money. So what we're going to see here, I think what we're going to see here is a they're going to start picking up an original story. I do believe. I think it's going to be a prequel from what I've from what my sources say is that it's going to be a prequel about Mufasa. Sorry, yes, Mufasa. He's going to be in the. It's going to be based about him. Now, I think it might be very well like having kind of like what we described with Nick Fury. Maybe have it bookended. I can't imagine a world where they won't bring Danny Glover.
James Earl Jones.
Well, James Earl Jones back, but I can't imagine who played Simba.
Donald Glover.
I can't imagine a world where they won't bring Donald Glover back and Beyonce and those people to play them. I think they will bring them back. I think for part 2. You didn't like either Donald or
I hated them. Beyonce. They're the worst part of the movie. Yeah. I love Lion King, but they sucked. Not because just their voices just don't match up. Like maybe it's because Lion King was such like. Literally, that's literally a perfect movie, like the original anime. So, like, literally anybody else's voice just doesn't. And I don't know, just especially Donald Glover, because I love him, especially like as Lando. Like, his voice just did not do it for me as Simba at all.
Yeah.
But God, James Earl Jones is Mufasa. They can. God bless him. He's like in his 90s, I think now. But if they can focus on him and he can do it, oh yes.
Something tells me if it's a prequel, we'll get. I don't know if he'll be the voice. You know what I mean? If it's like a younger, maybe he will. Maybe it will. But
maybe they can get there's a dude who does Darth Vader like really spot on to James Earl Jones. Go for him. Freaking get Jeremy Irons back as Scar. Like, come on.
Yeah, then maybe you're right because he was iconic as Scar. Oh well, no, who played Scar in the movie? He made Jeremy Irons in the animated film.
Yeah, no, the guy who played him in the live action from Doctor Strange and stuff, he did great too. But Jeremy Irons is Scar, like his voice is just so good.
He did a good job.
That would be so good.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting because it's taken up by a new director. John Favreau directed it. The first Lion King. This is directed by Barry Jenkins. He's the director of the Oscar-winning film Moonlight. He's usually done. It's interesting because he's done a lot of character-driven tales, smaller movies. Like I said, Moonlight was the Oscar-winning film for that. If Beale Street Could Talk, which was a great Netflix movie that Regina King was in, and also this movie starred Mahershala Ali, who is the new Blade, of course. But no, Barry Jenkins, I think, is a great choice for this, interesting choice for this huge special effects budgeted, type of movie. So yeah, it should be good, man. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, regardless of what the credit, when you make over $1.5 billion, you're getting greenlit for a second. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's you can call it a cash grab, you can call it whatever you want, but there's just too much money to be had to not do a sequel. It'd just be cool, like to do a story, a Lion King base that's not been done before. I mean, there was an animated Lion King 2.
They won't follow that.
Please God, don't let that happen. But a Mufasa film prequel, I think, would be very fascinating because to me, he's my favorite character of Lion King. Like, I would love to just see his story, of how he became like the great king. I mean, at the end of the day, like they even portray him to be like the greatest of the kings. You know what I mean? Even more than Simba. He's the guy. So that'd be very cool. We'll see what they do.
It's been an exciting week for news, you know what I mean? And I guess the last little bit, and I didn't read this, but for you guys out there, we don't want to deprive you of this news story as well. I know the Neil Gaiman Sandman comic series has been a huge. I don't know.
I have the audiobook on Audible with James McAvoy. It is awesome. It is really, really awesome.
So you're familiar with the series, and all right.
Yeah.
They apparently have casted the main character, which is Dream, I believe. Is that the character of so he's been cast by or he's Tom Sturridge. Will play Endless, who is also known as Dream and Morpheus. And in the comics, I guess he's the ruler of the world of dreams. You could take it from here. I don't know much about that story at all. I know it's a huge thing, and I know it's really popular and a lot of fans behind it. And I know people are excited about this casting.
Yeah, so Sandman, it's kind of actually derived from DC Comics. It's definitely a
Vertigo, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things like if DC Comics met Universal Monsters. Like it's kind of a mix between a monster tale and Sandman. He kind of rules he's got like a Freddy Krueger thing where like you better not fall asleep because he owns the dream world and he's kind of like this demon figure. It's very dark and very cool. Like the audiobook has like I said, James McAvoy. It has some other like A-list actors. If you're on Audible, I think it's like the top seller on Audible right now. So it's definitely worth listening to. It's a very cool story. So I actually am very stoked to see what they can do with this live action. Because listening to the audiobook, I was like, man, I don't know why they haven't done like a movie or something about this because it's such a cool kind of concept. So I'm all for it.
It's going to be a Netflix series, and like I said, they've made the first step in the casting. So for you guys out there, I hope the casting sits well with you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean James McAvoy does like this really epic, like really deep monster. It's really cool. So check that out. But those are kind of the news for the week. Hopefully we have a lot more stuff rolling in for us next week as we go through the weekly news with you guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Lee, it's been awesome as always to talk about the hot topics of the week. And we hope you guys enjoy. Leave a comment. Let us know what you guys think. Check out the website, www.comiccollectorsguild.com. Hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate all the support. And until next time, guys, you guys keep hunting and have a good week.
Your secret friend.
Underneath the bridge,
Who?
top of sprung a leaf.
clue. Let's play a game, just me and you. Any of this mean anything to you?
You're becoming quite a celebrity. Why is he writing to you?
If you are justice, please do not lie. What is the price for your blind eye?
The hell are you supposed to be?
I'm vengeance.
Whoa! This guy's crazy!
You're part of this too.
How am I part of it?
You'll see.